Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this video. I really haven't done a comment video in a while. I've just been so busy focusing on reading books. But I really want to try to get back to it as much as I can. If I can do it once a day, that would be great, because I really want to give y'all a voice. So let's just start reading. Andrea says, "Dear Joe, thanks for this video. I think some of the comments or posts disqualify themselves, which is sad. Regarding the DNA topic, did you think of contacting Donna Presley? She is Elvis's first cousin. Minnie Mae was her grandma too, and seems to be quite open and a very nice lady." I've messaged Donna. I haven't gotten a response from her, and I believe that Desiree said that she was pretty... Actually, I don't want to speak for Desiree. I think that she said she messaged her, and that Donna said no. I think that nobody wants to wrestle with Elvis Presley Enterprises, or perhaps have less bookings because there'd be another Presley. Elizabeth says, "I quit watching Elvis Fans Matter because Joe started doing most of the talking. In one video, Joe claimed June Eco was not telling the truth in her book about Elvis, and she was just a fan. She giggled when she said it. Now, Billy was a young boy when they dated in 55 to 57. Billy would have been 10 to 12 years old during those years. I doubt Elvis discussed his love life with a 10-year-old. In 59, Elvis gave an interview stating that he really loved a girl once, and she dumped him, yep, on a train in New Orleans. That would be June. If you read her book, he was talking about June. Joe, we love your channel. It's my favorite." Well, I appreciate that. And I think that, Elvis Fans Matter, I think that there's probably a lot of great stuff on that channel. So I'm hoping that just dies down. I mean, it was a bit of a dust up that probably didn't need to happen. But I appreciate that. And I would like to hear Billy talk more. I would really like it to be just Billy Smith talking. I think that more people would watch their channel. Elvis and Lucy says, Chris says, "Priscilla got money from her divorce, and she was asking for money to decorate her apartment, and Stone was living there too. She had a fight with Stone, and she called Elvis and asked if she could come back to Graceland, and Elvis said no. This should be the definitive answer to Priscilla, who wants to be buried at Graceland. Elvis's answer about Priscilla coming back to Graceland was no. Riley should adhere to Elvis's definitive answer about Priscilla returning to Graceland alive or deceased." That's a good point, and I know there was a newspaper article about that too. Something about don't take my bed for granted or something. Sarah Angel puts a heart down there, and I'm sorry if it's a little noisy traveling right now. So sometimes I get an opportunity to talk a little bit more when I'm in a vehicle traveling. So the Elvis and Kathy, the end is near for Elvis, that chapter there, or the section that I read. Hey Drew, good to hear from you. And I don't know whether it's Drew is short for a name or just symbolizes something. Let me know about that. There was a lot of guilt to go around after Elvis died. Most were not Christians and laughed at Elvis's faith in God. Well, yeah, there was a lot of the Memphis Mafia that certainly they just didn't appreciate Elvis reading from the Bible or spiritual books. It's a good point. A message to Billy Smith. So that video there. Thank you, Joe. Always using your heart and common sense. So kind. Yeah, and I once again, could we be misinterpreting? I mean, I always try to take a look back. I mean, it doesn't appear to be so. I think that Billy didn't answer, and Joe answered, but it was a question that Danielle asked, and like I said, I do kind of, even though I'm reading your comments, I don't anticipate I'm going to make any more videos about it, and I don't think that they're going to. I spoke to one of their friends, and last night on Messenger, and so, anyways, he didn't think that I meant anything personal by it. Hey, Mary, made it to the end. TLC, TCB, love it, love those hearts. And I said, hey, just let them know. Look, I didn't mean any offense by it, and I don't want them stressed out. They are older. But at the same time, I really wish they would have not answered the question, in all honesty, and certainly not answered it without the knowledge of knowing any of the facts or details of it. That was the issue there, I think. Phil McCracken, what's up? I like the name. Whether that's real or not, I don't know. On the Elvis, even Priscilla fans are angry after she says this. He said, "I thought she was married to Garibaldi for 20 years. I think it was 26. And I don't know whether she had common law marriage because of where they lived in California. a very interesting thing that I probably need to do a little video on. Everybody talks about Elvis getting rid of Anita after 4 years, and Linda after 4 years, and then marrying Priscilla after 4 years because of the common law marriage thing, that like he was afraid he was going to be married common law if he would have stayed with Anita longer or Linda longer. But Tennessee never has ever had common law marriage. And that's one of those things going around in the Elvis world that I've always heard, that I looked up to try to help a friend that was actually having an issue with his common law wife, in my opinion, been together 30 years, had a stroke, was put in a nursing home, and the kids tried to take rights away from him. Anyways, that's a whole different topic. But Diane Ward says, some people are just mean and like to be negative. Joe, you're doing a great job keeping Elvis's memory alive. Made it to the end. I appreciate it, Diane. I wish we could all keep it positive about everything all the time. Now, as you know, I'm not necessarily positive about Priscilla. But if Priscilla had changed her ways and she told an accurate story, I would certainly applaud that. And I would probably cover her with more favor in a way. That's kind of why I brought, excuse me, Mike Stone on. I just felt like, you know, he kind of got a bad rap. And once again, I'm not defending what he did and what Priscilla and him did. But, hey, and I'll finish that in a second. Spirit in me says, I don't respect them. I have nothing for them, and they have nothing that I want from them. And I know that a lot of y'all unsubscribe to them. And, you know, I've got some unsubscribes. Not many, which is surprising, but I've seen them. And it is what it is. They have their choice to watch it or not. Watch my content, listen to me or not. And do we need to pick a side? I think if we pick a side too much, then maybe we miss out on some great memories or some information that you would have gotten over at Elvis Fans Matter or here at Rare Elvis Photos. Hey, Donnie. Joe, I think it was a great video to try to calm things down. Desiree is 66 years old. She's elderly, and I wish she had closure. Excuse me. I'll be 75 on January 8th. Well, that's very cool. Happy birthday, January 8th, coming up. Elvis's birthday, huh? And you're right about age. And Desiree should know, for medical reasons, my mom had 6 kids by 3 different husbands. 2 of my half-brothers, they had the same mom with different dads. Both submitted their DNA to the same ancestry company, and both were notified they were possibly cousins. I'm the oldest of Mom's kids, so I know she physically gave birth to them. I was 12 when one was born, and almost 18 when the youngest was born. Obviously, these tests are not perfect. Mom died at 47. I'm sorry to hear that. My mom died at 46. And every one of Mom's kids also have half-siblings on our respective dad's side. We don't know who or where they are. I think my half-brothers were trying to find their other half-siblings. We know for a fact that we have a lot of Cherokee blood. So do I. That's great. On Mom's side, but it didn't show up. We know for a fact because 100% Indian relative live with Graham's family. One of my brothers has a 45-year-old stepdaughter with his ex-wife who has no idea who her father was. She's been trying her entire life to find out. The man she thinks passed away before she could contact him. That's horrible. She was especially concerned for medical history after she had kids. She harbors a lot of dislike towards her mother because of it. Her mom was with a lot of men and truly just didn't have any idea. Now, her mom reminds me of Prissy, except she was never pretty, but in my opinion, both are narcissistic, selfish, mean, and evil. There's some good points there. That the ancestry companies, they don't provide an answer. They can provide a somewhat of a match, but that's not going to satisfy any of the people that truly don't believe. And the people that believe already believe based upon Lucy's word and some of the things like the poem that's authenticated and the card that's authenticated and the diaries that Lucy kept. I'm Donna. Hi, Donna. Good to meet you. And I've learned a lot from your channel. Thank you, Joe, and God bless. Thanks for sharing that. That's a good piece of information for everybody. Yeah, so, and of course, to wrap up the whole Mike Stone thing, yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to talk about the Priscilla choice he made. He says everybody makes choices. he did say that he was not a good person back then, and that he left Hollywood for a lot of different reasons, but that was one of them, to become a better person. So that in itself, to me, is an apology, because, I mean, we do affect other people. Marion R. says, I'm disappointed about EFM Sway dealing with that subject, but I accept their answer. I'm very impressed with the calm, respectful way you handled the video. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, they do have a right. I mean, it's disappointing to the fans, right? And once again, it was a lot of y'all that said, hey, ask Billy Smith. Maybe he'll help. He doesn't like Priscilla. The estate cut him out, all that other stuff. And so I think I asked in a video, or maybe y'all asked. I don't even remember. I don't think I asked him in a video until after he did his Desiree Who. Hey, Cynthia, such a sad situation. People like to think that they are the most knowledgeable, but we don't know what went on with Elvis every day of his life. And I don't know if I hit that read more, but I appreciate you coming on here all the time, and I love seeing your comments. What's up, Michael? Good day. You must be from Australia or New England. I love the accent, by the way. And I love you putting good day. Good day, Mike. And I know I probably seem like a silly fuddy-puddy making up an accent. Can you please find the DNA for all Elvis fans worldwide? There are 100 million fans. So good day. I think that you're just kind of making fun of the situation. Cat Whiskers, they really should have done their homework before addressing the question. How ironic that EPA doesn't acknowledge dismiss, and here they are doing it for Desiree. Yeah, and I don't know the exact situation behind it all. What I do know, though, is I do know that Billy Smith lived there at Graceland a lot, and he was with Elvis a lot, and he played racquetball with Elvis that night, and went up and washed and dried Elvis's hair. So it is somebody that Elvis chose to have around. Just like the Stanley brothers. Whether you like Rick or David, of course Rick has passed away, and of course Billy went on his own way and did his own things for a while. But Elvis chose to have them around, and I think that we expect more of them, maybe because of how much we love Elvis, and sometimes people disappoint us in what they choose to do or say. I've always enjoyed, like I said, Billy Stanley's on my channel. I love having Billy on. I can tell what a great heart he has. It's just him and me. It's hard to understand Billy Smith much because it's not really hardly him. It's mostly Joe talking. Like, I watched another video, and gosh, he cut him off every time. Like, I want him to answer. Elvis Therapy says, I don't understand their vitriol, a bit sensitive actually. I'm sorry this is going by too quick. Hopefully you've been reading that. Elvis made room for the will for possible offspring, so he was fine with it. Why not at least look into it? It was a long time ago I saw a copy of the will, so don't come for me. Keep going, doing what you do, Joe. I appreciate it. Peace and grace to you and yours. Yeah, I think that there was an interpretation that the courts did when Deborah Presley brought her case to it. They didn't decline that she was a daughter of Elvis. They said she had no right to anything because of what Elvis put in his will. So I think it's an interpretation, and now there's a precedent set. But I think it said lawful children. So in my interpretation, lawful would be proven, right? That's what it should be. But I think that they put lawful as in married. It's an interpretation, and Elvis Presley Enterprises and Priscilla, especially back then, had the money, in my opinion, to buy off people and to sway the narrative. What's up, Michael? Good day. There are other cousins still alive. Donna Presley's Elvis's first cousin. I think you said you have no doubt that Desiree is Elvis's daughter because of the high cheekbones. Sandy Mitchell, love your videos. I've been an Elvis fan since I was 16, and I'm 63 now. Awesome. 47 years of being an Elvis fan. That's great. I'm 47 years of being an Elvis fan as well. That's amazing. I was an Elvis fan when I was 2 years old. Hey, April. Man, I'm sorry to see things going like this, is what you said. I know they don't understand your intent, and it seems like it got blown way out of proportion. I think it did. I think that they answered the question that Daniel asked, and maybe Danielle didn't know anything about it. I think that she would research some of these things. She did seem to kind of say, oh, yeah, Desiree. And here's the other thing. There's another Eliza Presley that was in the press that sometimes gets confused for Desiree. Eliza Desiree. Not the same name, but Eliza Desiree. And I think Even Desiree sent something. I can't believe they're lying about me like this. Not about Elvis Fans Matter, but somebody online. And I said, no, Desiree, that's an article talking about Eliza Presley. And so I think that there is a lot of ludicrous cases that are out there that have been proven wrong, and then there's some that might be possibly, the offspring of Elvis. I mean, people message me all the time about John Presley Smith. I appreciate your comment here, April, by the way, and I know everybody's reading it. But people have messaged me about John Presley Smith. I've spoken to Deborah Presley Brando before as well. She doesn't have a whole lot of story, but she did have Larry Geller. I think, according to her. I haven't seen anything from Larry. Larry hasn't talked to me about it. But supposedly Larry Geller helped her prove or something like that, or helped her with a court case, or gave her a copy of the will or something. That he was kind to her, but I could never get documentation on that, so I didn't do any story on Deborah. That doesn't mean that she might not be. Hey, speaking of that, Edie said, have you ever spoken to Larry Geller? It seems interesting to me that he gave the only other lady claiming to be Elvis's daughter a copy of the will. It sounds that he may have some knowledge about it. I think that certainly everybody with common sense knows that Elvis could have more children, right? To deny it is just ridiculous. And there are some people that are the lollipop kids and the naysayers that for whatever reason they can't even fathom that Elvis might have had more children. Like, Elvis wasn't a saint, he wasn't a nun. While we're reading Sue Powell's comment there, that's the same thing I'm thinking as well. I don't dislike Joe. I think people go to that channel for Billy Smith, and that's who should talk. At the same time, I don't want to minimize her relationship with Elvis. She was there around Elvis too, but I know how Elvis was, and she wasn't a girlfriend, so it's not like Elvis shared a bunch of things with her all the time. He would probably see her with Billy all the time. Anyways, but going back to the whole thing about Larry Geller and Elvis children and all this other stuff. I mean, Elvis Presley, he was a guy. He had a lot. Like, I can just only use my own experience. My measure of fame was a drop in the sand compared to Elvis. But at the same time, I would frequently have 5 to 10 girls come back after a show. They would just come back, cowgirls, from me singing. And I'm not saying I did everything with 5 to 10 girls. I'm just saying that there was always lots of girls around, always lots of girls throwing themselves at me constantly. M2M Elvis Music. Joe, I hope my comment to you was received as intended. I believe it was. I believe we share a similar faith and we serve a mighty God. Yes, we do. Let's collectively turn this over to God and encourage prayer for His will for Desiree and the rest of Elvis's family. That's the most powerful tool we have. Blessings to all. No, I don't believe that God allows everything good or bad to happen in this world. I believe that we pray for our own comfort, in all honesty. I think God may intercede. It's difficult depending on whether you follow Catholicism, whether you're a Baptist, whether you're a Lutheran. Because if not, why would God answer some people's prayers and not others? Like, our little boy died. Why did God allow our 44-year-old day-old son to die? Something my wife always struggled with. My first post before I made it to the end, Joe, this is really hard to hear this. And I know everybody's been reading it. Sometimes I get to talking about other stuff, and this is the slowest I can play this comment train. So I apologize I didn't get all of your comment read, Janet, but I know everybody else did. Golden Retriever puppies, money hungry for themselves. Well, I don't know, but I know that you have an opinion and a comment. And like I said, I kind of hope this all dies down some and we can find some understanding of it. And maybe even Billy reaches out to me and has a conversation with me. I would be open with that perfectly fine. I don't think he wants to, but if he did, they have my number now, or at least somebody that is friends with him has my number, so they can certainly call me. Hey Pam, I appreciate you coming on and saying you appreciate the book reviews. Hey Jenny, Jenny is Nancy P's sister, who was the caretaker for Gary Pepper. Good reaction, Joe. We love this channel, and you're always kind and respectful to everyone. Just keep doing what you're doing and providing excellent information about Elvis. We thank you. I appreciate that. And hey, I really want to have, I have to reach out to your sister Nancy again and bring her on again and maybe do a better video where there's more of her showing, because the video, for whatever reason, on her side cut off half of her face, and she was wonderful to have on. And I have some negatives that I still have not gotten done for Nancy and Jenny that I will be working on. I promise you, they're kept safe. Very cool stuff. And I need to do a video of those negatives. I know, Nancy, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said negative Nancy, negative Nellie, negative Ninny. Maybe negative Ninny. Then I won't. No, there's nobody's name out there, Ninny, right? Nobody would have named their daughter Ninny. So negative Ninnies. Janet, hey, there you are going. Joe, this is sad that these grown adults are acting in such a manner. It's sad that anyone part of Elvis's world would act in such a manner. Don't we all need answers? Prove it so everyone can know the truth. You know, I think that they could prove a relation. People were talking to me about that. They could prove a relation, but it wouldn't. The only thing that's going to prove Desiree is the daughter of Elvis is Elvis's blood himself. Like Elvis's DNA himself is the only thing that's going to prove an exact match. And I think that's the struggle that we have here. Everybody talks about Donna Presley or Patsy Presley, who I think is friends with Priscilla, so that's no way that's going to happen. Trust me, no way it will happen. Anybody that's associated in a positive manner, Now, when Priscilla passes, which could be soon, you know, she's, I don't know, when you got money, you have the best of health care and all that other stuff too, but she's not the youngest person anymore. And hopefully we get an answer before any of us passes, because heck, I'm not anywhere near as old as Priscilla, but I mean, my days could be numbered. We don't know. We have to be grateful for what we have and try to love those around us and help those that we can while we're here on this earth. Nancy closes it out by saying, I know why Lucy kept it quiet all those years, because it would have been horrible in the 70s if she came out. Her whole family would have been destroyed in the media, unless Elvis, you know, obviously stood up for her, which I think he would have done, but I get it. And that's a good comment. TCB TLC, this is Rare Elvis Photos. Until next time, take care of yourselves and others.